should be a great undercard fight. Bryan Garcia and Joseph Salazar, two former amateur stars, going to get into the ring with identical records of 1 and 2. And James, what do you know about Bryan Garcia?
Well, I've had a chance to actually train with Bryan Garcia. You know, I've seen his training ethic, and he's with the Linson camp. You know, and I think his body looks great. His conditioning is also very well done, and I look for a lot of speed in him too. I don't know too much about Joseph Salazar. He looks rather small, so I don't look for very good hard punches from Joseph tonight.
Okay, well, Joseph the Sandman Salazar and Bryan Garcia should be a good one too. Another fight that I think you got.
And welcome back, everybody.
Yes, our first fight of the night tonight between Bryan Garcia and Joseph Salazar.
And guys, I think we're in for a heck of a fight here. Both fighters at 1 and 2, but the record's kind of deceiving. Bryan Garcia, former amateur star, and Joseph the Sandman Salazar was a kickboxing amateur star turned boxer. So I think these guys are well matched. We could be in for a treat here.
Yes, this will be a good fight. Garcia coming into this fight 1 and 2, and Joseph Salazar also 1 and 2. Bryan Garcia is coming in out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Joseph Salazar is out of Los Lunas, New Mexico.
He's quite a ways away from home to fight in a hometown crowd of Bryan Garcia. So do you think, Dan, that's going to have a tremendous effect on that fighter?
Well, we got the North versus the South here, kind of a civil war. Los Lunas and Santa Fe, so I think that could bring a little bit something out, especially for the guy from Santa Fe. He'll have the crowd behind him. And as you can see him climbing into the ring here,
yes,
is Bryan Garcia, local favorite, former amateur star, off to a little bit of a slow start at 1 and 2, but he's had some tough competition, and he started off real tough against Richard Pasillas, that fight in Albuquerque. Right, that was a great one. Now let's go up to ring announcer Bill Demas.
Introducing the boxers for a 6-round match tonight. In the red corner, from Santa Fe, New Mexico, at 119 3/4 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, Bryan Garcia. And his opponent tonight in the blue corner, from Los Lunas, New Mexico, weighing in at 119 pounds, Joseph Sandman Salazar. Your referee tonight is Nefi Quintana.
I'm giving you instructions in the dressing room, so I'm telling you now, protect yourself at all times. Any questions at this time? All right, let's go back to your corner.
Your judges for this event will be Levi Martinez, William Gant, and Larry Chavez.
Well, we're just about ready to get underway here with, I think, what's going to be a heck of a fight. And the referee up there, Nefi Quintana, is world class. He's judged or refereed over 30 world title fights around the world, and he's a tremendous referee. Nefi Quintana out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're underway, round 1. Dan Cisneros here at ringside, along with Bobby Perez and James Ramirez, bringing you the boxing action here from the Sweeney Convention Center here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Joseph the Sandman Salazar in the white trunks out of Los Lunas, New Mexico, with a record of 1 and 2. His opponent, Bryan Garcia, in the blue trunks with the white trim. Bryan with the same record, 1 and 2. A little bit stiffer competitions, maybe for Bryan Garcia, but I'll tell you, Joseph Salazar fought a U.S. Olympian, Eric Morrell, and that fight was on the undercard of one of the Johnny Tapia fights, and that fight was on ESPN.
Yes, it was. So this is nothing new for him, fighting in front of a camera. So he's ready to go tonight, it looks like.
I think we're going to see two superb boxers going at it, showing their talents in any way.
And actually, right now, we've got Joseph Salazar acting as the little bull here, charging in on Bryan Garcia. Garcia's a little bit more of a mover. I mean, he's got a little more footwork. He's been in the amateur game a long time, but he's taking some wicked shots right now from the Sandman, Salazar. And Bryan Garcia trying to take control of that center of the ring.
He's trying to utilize his jab right now. I think he's trying to get that target on.
Bryan Garcia at 119 3/4 at the weigh-in last night. Joseph Salazar also at 119 pounds, just a hair over the bantamweight division. Salazar fighting most of his amateur career at 115. I believe Bryan Garcia around the same weight at the junior bantam.
Yes.
But both are growing boys, and they've moved up a little bit here to the 118-pound bantamweight division. And right now you see Joseph Salazar very aggressive. There's a nice counter right by Bryan Garcia. But Bryan not really setting down on his punches. He just doesn't seem to be quite into the groove of the fight yet.
I think both fighters just need a chance to let this round pass by so they can, you know, get a feel for each other and get in that groove.
Right, it's all that adrenaline. They're going to see what the other man has to offer.
Bryan Garcia with that jab, I see him, he's trying, oh, he tried to take him there with a right cross.
Leaping in with that right hand. And you can see Salazar trying to counterpunch there, trying to catch his opponent with the right. And right now Salazar gets Garcia into the corner, and this is what Joseph wants. Bryan Garcia smartly ties his man up. Referee Nefi Quintana breaks the two. And you can see Garcia trying to reach in with that jab. There he throws an overhand right. He needs to set that up a little bit first before it will work.
He's got to keep better balance too, because if he misses with a big shot and Joseph catches him with a shot, he may be in trouble.
And he can. Joseph Salazar had a good reputation as a banger in the kickboxing, in his kickboxing days. I saw quite a few of his fights, and right now he's got Garcia back in the corner. This is what Joseph Salazar wants, and this is when he does his best work. And Garcia trying valiantly to fight his way off the corner here, and Salazar relentless, just pushing forward, and that ends the first round. Stick with us, we'll be back.
I think that first round we just needed. I think Bryan apparently needed to get his groove. He needs to get his footing on this next round. I think he just wanted to come out and see how Joseph was going to come out, just get a feel for each other. I think we saw a good brawl there at the end from both fighters, but I look forward to see both of them coming at it again strong now.
Yeah, I think Bryan Garcia needs to get that rhythm. He's looking to get that boxer's rhythm, and he just didn't seem quite to have it yet. And Joseph Salazar is a little bit more of the madman in there. You know,
yes.
He's willing to just get in there and brawl and mix it up. Actually, the first round kind of playing into the hands of Joseph Salazar.
Actually, it did, because he came in he came in expecting for Bryan to come in with the jab, I think, because he's really doing a good job of defending that jab.
Well, we're just ready to get started here with round 2, scheduled for 4. Or is this a 6? I believe it's a 6-rounder. Yeah, we're scheduled for 6, so these guys have time to work here. Joseph Salazar in the white trunks and Bryan Garcia in the blue. In interstate New Mexico rivalry here, Los Lunas and Santa Fe, and right now Salazar again winging with the shot, lands a right hand. Garcia, though, doing some nice counter punching there off the ropes. And Salazar lands a nice right hand there, banging to the head of Garcia. And Joseph Salazar continuing to put the pressure on, yes. Stepping forward, stepping inside, and pushing, literally pushing Bryan Garcia back into the ropes.
The ref gives him a warning, I believe that was.
And I think Bryan Garcia needs to a little more side-to-side movement. He seems to be going too straight forward, too straight back, and that's playing right into the hands of Joe Salazar. That kickboxing mentality is forward and back, and I think Bryan needs to get a little more side-to-side movement here.
His footing is excellent. Joseph is really using that footing. He's really cutting off the ring and getting him in the corner, which is hurting Bryan right now.
I think we're really noticing a really fast-paced fight right now. Both boxers really just going at it as hard as they can.
It's definitely going to take its toll on these two guys if they go the whole 6 rounds at this pace.
At this pace.
Yeah. I know Bryan Garcia can go to 6 rounds. I'm not too sure about Joseph, although Joseph looks in really good condition tonight. The rap on him in the past has been coming in a little bit out of shape, but Joseph Salazar looks in real nice condition tonight.
Bryan with a leaping punch there.
Oh, man. And that nice body shot right there from Salazar right to the midsection of Bryan Garcia in the blue trunks. Again, Salazar in the white trunks pushing forward. Power shots now from Joseph Salazar in the white trunks. Bryan Garcia really needs to use that speed. He needs to use the foot speed, I think.
He has the speed.
He does have it. He showed it in the amateur days, and he's got it, but just a little bit frustrated here with the swarming offense of Joseph Salazar. Again, you see Bryan Garcia now trying to move a little bit to the side and find a spot to start working with that jab. Again now, Joseph Salazar with the bullying tactics. He has the man right where he wants him, lands a shot to the body, kind of threw a left hand and landed to the chest of Garcia, but Bryan Garcia slipped out there, and that's what he needs to do right away. He can't get hung up on the ropes.
When Salazar gets him up against the ropes, that's when he starts to counterpunch and double up, and that's gonna hurt him. It's gonna hurt Bryan in the later rounds as far as scoring is concerned.
Bryan Garcia does have a cut on his left eye.
His right eye.
His right eye, excuse me.
Yeah, he sure does.
Blood starting to trickle down.
Oh, my. Solid shot to the chin of Bryan Garcia there by Joseph Salazar.
It does seem that Garcia is getting a little fatigued.
Yes, he is. Mouth wide open, taking those power shots. He's
taking
cut.
some big, deep breaths.
Not a good start here for Bryan Garcia from Santa Fe, and that ends the second round, scheduled for 6. And, well, guys, I kind of thought we might have a treat here, and it looks like these guys are going to give us something
Yes,
here.
they are.
That's definitely for sure.
So far in the fight, how do you score it there, Dan?
Well, I, unofficially, of course, but I do have it
Unofficially?
2 rounds to none for Joseph Salazar. I think the aggression, the power punching, he's doing a number on Bryan Garcia, and we're looking into the corner of Bryan Garcia right now, and he seems like he's in some kind of distress. I don't know if he has an injury.
It appears to be the shoulder, if I'm incorrect. But
yeah, he was kind of tapping at the shoulder. And, boy, that's the last thing he needs here against a very aggressive Joseph Salazar. Bryan needs all of his tools to get through this one.
And in the cut over his right eye is going to have an effect along with the injury. So I hope it's nothing serious for Bryan.
Well, let's see if he can continue here. They're working on him. And I have it 2 rounds to none for Salazar. How do you guys see it?
I agree.
And Bobby, what do you think?
I believe 2 rounds to none, Joseph Salazar.
Yeah, that aggression's paying off here, and Bryan Garcia needs to counter and actually use Joseph's aggression against him, but he just hasn't got that formula going yet. We'll see if he gets into his rhythm here. Of course, fighting that injury and the cut, that's just more handicaps against the hometown boy here, Bryan Garcia, in the blue trunks.
He's coming out with the right jab, which is good. Oh.
And you can see Bryan's a little bit hesitant, and if Joseph knows, and he lands another solid shot, Joseph Salazar in the white trunks, pushing forward. You see him just step right inside and follow Garcia to the ropes. There's no escape for Bryan Garcia right now. Joseph Salazar all over him. And Joseph really looks motivated tonight, and this is kind of a new Joseph Salazar. And there's a nice right hand to the body, and Bryan needs to get more offensive.
Bryan surprisingly is getting out of those, when he's getting him cornered up against the ropes, he's getting out surprisingly well.
That's what he needs to. I think maybe his corner told him, you've got to get off those ropes. And right now, let's see again. You see Salazar tries to pin him, and Bryan fires a couple of right hands. And yeah, as long as Bryan stays out of trouble, out of those corners, off the ropes.
You see, he needs to slip out like he's doing there, or else.
Oh. And you see
Salazar really coming at him with like almost a bum rush technique.
Yeah.
Really just running right at him.
He's just a bull, charging bull here. But it's working for him so far. And again, Bryan Garcia needs to time him, set him up, catch him coming right into something. Hasn't found that formula yet.
Cutman obviously did a good job for Bryan Garcia, made that cut stop on the right eye. It's not bleeding anymore.
I would expect Salazar to attack the right eye right now.
Seems like he would target it with that jab.
But he has a different strategy. I think he's following to his original plan.
Well, it's worked well for him, and you know, he doesn't want to change a good thing here. He's done surprisingly well here in Bryan Garcia's hometown. Bryan Garcia, the southpaw out of Santa Fe. And you would think that might give Joseph Salazar a little trouble, but really it hasn't worked to his advantage so far.
I've never really seen Joseph Salazar fight a southpaw. Have you seen him fight a southpaw before?
I don't remember whether he's been in there against southpaw fighters, but I'm sure he's seen plenty because he's had a ton of amateur kickboxing fights, and although that is very different, the stance, you know, if it's a southpaw stance, you still learn something from that.
Yes.
Joseph Salazar was overwhelmed by U.S. Olympian Eric Morel, who is an outstanding world-class contender right now. And Joseph just was really outmatched in that when he was put in early against a very rugged Eric Morel.
Yes.
So he's fighting more on his level here with an up-and-comer like himself against Bryan Garcia. Again, you see Salazar lunging in, and there's a nice right hand from Garcia. Yes. Now that's what Bryan needs, a little more
Beautiful.
offense.
If he can keep doing that, he can fight his way back in this fight.
And that ends the round, so That was a tough one to score there.
Yeah, there was. Really, Bryan Garcia really came back, showed what he had in that round. He was fighting more aggressively that time. He wasn't letting Joseph Salazar bum rush him as much. He was really fighting back. So I actually give that round to Bryan Garcia.
And I score that one even, but right now the referee taking a close look at the shoulder of Bryan Garcia, and I think this one might be stopped. Referee Nefi Quintana now, he's making a motion here. I believe the fight's been stopped due to the injury.
We're waiting here.
That's it.
I believe so, yes.
That's it. It's
Bryan
all over.
Garcia has injured his shoulder, I believe, so.
The
But
shoulder.
good sportsmanship by Joseph Salazar, walking over and giving Bryan Garcia a hug, letting him know that.
They're both good guys, and I would expect that. And Bryan Garcia just too much to overcome. But wait a minute now, they're a little bit hot now.
Okay.
They started getting a little hot here, but
I think he gave Bryan a little bit too much love there in the corner.
Maybe patted him on that shoulder there, and Bryan didn't like it. But just too much to overcome for Bryan Garcia with a shoulder injury. Had his hands full with a well-prepared Joseph Salazar, and just too much.
So I think we're going to go to ring announcer Bill Demas for the
technical knockout called by the referee for a bad right shoulder, left shoulder. And the winner in the blue corner from Los Lunas, New Mexico, Joseph Sandman Salazar.
And there you have it, the winner, Joseph Salazar. Both fighters showing good sportsmanship again, as we talked about before.
Yeah. They just Bryan's just a little disappointed because the way it turned out, and he prepared so hard. And
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for both of these fine athletes?
They made a good decision to stop the fight.
Absolutely.
I mean, an injury like that, you know, it you could possibly get really hurt, you know, and we don't want to see that here. We just want to see two good sportsmanship fighters come out here, show their skill, show their speed, and what they've been working for to get to this day, and that's what we saw.
Right. Absolutely. There's no reason to ruin a guy's career in his fourth pro fight, and then Bryan Garcia will be back to fight another day. So
yes, he will.
A good start to tonight's action. We'll be back with more after this. Okay, boxing fans, right now we're going to visit with a young man who was featured on the undercard here, Bryan Garcia from Santa Fe, New Mexico, a pretty popular fighter here in Santa Fe. And Bryan, I guess things didn't really go your way in that fight with Joseph Salazar. You want to tell us how it went in there?
Well, you know, my shoulder went out of place. I did my best. I felt that the fight was going my way as planned. You know, I was using my jab. It was working well. You know, I was hitting and moving. You know, I tip my hat to him. He's a great fighter. We fought a couple times in Golden Gloves, and, you know, I was a victor then. Tonight, he was a victor. And I just wish my shoulder wouldn't have went out of place, but that was against my will.
You also had to work with that cut, I think, so you had a lot of things going against you.
Well, I didn't really notice the cut until after the fight, so it was my shoulder that I was concerned about. I still tried to go on. I turned southpaw and try to continue and, you know, do what I know how to do.
Bryan, do you think, you know, regardless of the shoulder, do you think if you had not got the injury, do you think you would have come back and done more stuff? It seemed to me like you started to get your rhythm. The first round, it seemed that you guys were just trying to feel each other, trying to find out what you guys were about and what you guys were going to come out with. What are your feelings about that?
Well, definitely. I know what I was capable of. I know what kind of a fighter he is, and I knew what I had to do, you know, even if it had to move for a while and throw a right hand here and there, stick, just make him miss, you know, just land more punches than he did. However, the fight was stopped and I couldn't, you know.
The injury just was on a higher power, and there's nothing you can do about that.
You see, when they told me they wanted to stop it, I said no, you know.
Okay.
I wanted to continue, you know. Matter of fact, they let me go some more rounds.
Who made the official decision to?
It's always my trainer's decision and the cornermen, doctors.
Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you coming back strong. Of course, you're that type of guy. We look to see you again. You'll be back, and the Santa Fe crowd hopes to see you back, and so do we.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Bryan.
Thank you.
That's Bryan Garcia, outstanding bantamweight from Santa Fe. We look forward to seeing more of him in the future.
Thank you.